Wouldn't it be cool if you could film yourself and easily turn into anything you want, like a cartoon character? But what if this could just be a means of capturing performance, and you can visualize what—
Dude, those anime filters that they had on Snapchat a couple years back, fucking amazing. I love that shit. We need more of that.
Whatever your imagination wants afterwards. This kind of no limits creativity is only accessible to films or animations with multi-million-dollar budgets, but it's part of our humanity to try to visualize things that don't exist. Like, let's talk about traditional 2D animation, cartoons. The most creatively liberated medium is also the least democratized. It takes incredibly skilled people drawing every single frame of your movie to make it happen. But I think we came up with a new way.
It's so incredibly difficult to pull off, and it's so underrated. Like anime animators in like Korea and Japan, they work so hard. Like, work harder than almost anybody in the creative space. And they're clearly not getting paid as much as they should and getting the right quality of life for the works that they're creating. It's sad.
A way to turn reality into a cartoon. And it's one more step towards true creative freedom, where we can easily create anything we want. So how do we do this? How do we turn a video into a cartoon? Well, we've been making a series of videos where we experiment with AI image processing. This is similar to AI image generation, but in our case, we are transforming images rather than generating them from scratch.
That is so cool.
So one of the newest pieces of technology is a machine learning process known as diffusion. At its core, the diffusion process lets a computer generate an image from noise, much like how we imagine an image from an ink blot or looking at clouds. So if we take a picture we already have and we put a little bit of noise on top, we can have the computer clear up that noise while drawing in new details.
That is so cool.
It's a lot like looking at a picture and squinting your eyes and trying to imagine you're looking at something else. And if you squint a lot, well, what you're looking at becomes really fuzzy, and you can imagine that you're looking at something different. So current technology can do this amazingly with one image. So why haven't we seen it applied to video? Shouldn't we be seeing mind-blowing visuals?
I just imagine the processing power for one frame, right? But then if you're doing like a 4K video, 60 frames a second, like what if it takes an AI like days and days and days to render that, right? Or to process all of that.
All over.
And then you go through one iteration and you realize you don't even like it. So you have to re-render the images over and over and over again so that each image gets closer and closer, and then you pick out the ones that you like the most, right? So then you're going through, you know, like 10,000 photos in which case you have to pick out between several different photos of which one you like the most for each frame in the entire video. It's insane.
The internet. Unfortunately, the moment people tried applying this to video, everything fell apart. Because the first step of the process requires us to noise.
Not to mention all the AI images are like missing fingers and stuff like that. I don't know why, but like AI generated images have a really hard time with fingers. They're always have too many or too few. It's never 5. You think the AI would just be like, oh, 5 fingers every single time, right? But no.
Is up our image. Every single frame ends up looking different and the video gets super flickery. The very nature of this tech seems to make it impossible to ever work with video.
It's still pretty cool though.
I nearly gave up on using it, but Dean here at the studio kept experimenting, and he showed that with a little bit of VFX problem solving, this might be something that we could actually overcome. It was at the time that Dean and Fenner went out and made that Spider-Verse short, and I set off on a personal quest to use this tech to enable me to make my very own anime. So it was time.
Dude, if this becomes widespread tech, we can isekai ourselves into our own anime. That'd be a fucking dream come true, man. I've always wanted to get isekai'd without, you know, the whole truck-kun and all that stuff.
Time to Sherlock Holmes our way through this and engineer a solution to this flickery problem. And the first clue was Jurassic Park. 6 months ago, a user on YouTube named Hops uploaded an experiment. He had processed Jurassic Park to look like low-poly Zelda. And he used an interesting new technique to noisify the image. And he had achieved excellent results. So I'll explain. Every time you process an image, the noise that you put on top changes. Therefore, the forms in the image get changed every frame. If we freeze that noise, things become a lot more solid in the image, but now it kind of feels like the image is moving underneath a weird warp layer, and the details stay inconsistent. So the new trick used in that little Jurassic Park video was simple. If we can turn noise into an image, let's just reverse an image back into the noise it would have come from. Literally just do it backwards. Therefore, the noise is no longer randomly changing every frame, nor is it locked. If the two frames are nearly the same, so is their fuzzy, noised up versions. Therefore, they get interpreted in a similar way. So we had one piece to the puzzle solved. No more random noise on our image. But I tried to make my video look like a cartoon, and every frame was being drawn with a different cartoon style. So we fixed one problem just to encounter another problem. Dead end? Well, no. Because around this time, style models were becoming a thing in the stable diffusion space. A person named Nitrosock started creating some amazing diffusion models built to convert your image into one specific style. So then it dawned on us. This was the key to eliminating the style flicker.
Bro, that is so
Like imagine
cool.
telling 100 different people to draw a cartoon dog. You're going to get 100.
Wait, but aren't they just stealing styles from other artists and then just like yoinking it and turning it into their own like AI style, right? Isn't it the same issue people were having with AI generated images, but now it's just for video? So the yoinking increases.
Different dogs back. Now imagine giving everyone a character style sheet saying, draw a cartoon dog exactly like this. The images are going to look a lot more similar. So we had to train our own model, specifically on only one style that we wanted to replicate. Another big step forward, but it only uncovered another new problem. On tests I performed on myself, the features on the face were still changing and jumping all over the place. So the idea hit us. We made a video where we trained ourselves into a diffusion model so that we could tell an epic fantasy story. Why not do that here? I trained a model to not only replicate a specific style, but also specifically know a character, me. I trained it on images of me wearing the same clothes, on the same green screen background, and suddenly, boom, everything locked in. The consistency between frames was hugely improved. Well, almost. It still wasn't quite perfect. But we're VFX artists who have worked with crappy video files. Surely, we must have a tool in our arsenal to deal with light flickering. So we applied the deflicker plugin in DaVinci Resolve, and we set it to remove flickering light. And it was that simple.
Big.
Suddenly, we were there.
That's simple, dude.
Working.
One
We had
effect.
a consistent,
That's all it takes.
moving, emotive cartoon character. And it was all just driven with video of us on a green screen. I think we've cracked a workflow here for getting something that looks like a cartoon, and it's pretty bonkers.
It's working, you know.
Yeah.
I think we could do maybe a couple more experiments, but it's like ready to rock.
I think Nico has figured out the key to creating consistent character.
Dude, all of those years in VFX, just to pull up DaVinci and slap on the deflicker. That's like people, you can spend all this money on a nice microphone and stuff and get a nice mixer. Or you can just go into DaVinci and slap on the de-esser and slap on a compressor and just, all right, you're good. Good to go. At least on the YouTube side of things. Just, no one has to know on when you're streaming.
So now it was time to make that anime that I've always wanted to make.
Hell yeah.
Because as
Of course, if you're streaming, you can just take OBS and then throw in some filters, throw in a compressor. You can do you can do basically everything you want with a mixer and expensive equipment with some cheap software.
you've seen on the channel, we have our anime videos, anime fidget spinners, anime self-driving cars, anime baseball.
That is so
But
cool.
they're all filmed for real because we don't run an animation studio and it's very hard to do so these days.
Incredibly hard.
So I've had this idea forever. Anime, rock, paper, scissors. What is the ultimate rock, paper, scissors?
This guy, I swear, he's a Hunter x Hunter fan. 1,000,000,000% he's a Hunter x Hunter fan.
Two twin princes, born at the same time, equal claim to the throne. And it must be decided that day the king has died. And rock, paper, scissors must happen. So we wrote this short film. The next step is to treat it like a cartoon, which means recording the dialogue first.
So Nico, who are you playing today?
I'm playing Philip, and I have no idea what voice I'm gonna use. I figured that we would start in saying like,
Yeah, just go through a few lines and then like we'll throw a filter or two on it to help nail the vibe.
My character is Jules. My research here, I just remember the shot of Clint in here screaming into a microphone. I'm just gonna channel Clint today. Nico has said that you whisper and then you scream and there's no in between.
full dynamics. You go really quiet and you get really loud and you do full volume compensation on there, so it just sounds like somehow you have this incredible presence where even your quietest moments are as loud as your screams. So Dean and I, we did the voice acting
Taking
first,
notes?
and we just blew out our vocal cords, yelling as loud as we could. So after we did that, we then designed the costumes for each character. Basically,
That's
just went on Etsy and
dope.
bought some goofy clothes.
Well, look at this high-level costuming here. Oh no, we lost like half the tape.
What we're trying to do is, you see all these doodads here is not gonna be great for the anime style because this kind of intricate detail wouldn't be included in the illustrations because it would just mean more pencil mileage for the animators. So we're covering all that up with a color that's similar to the rest of the costume. Once this is put into the animation space, all this jank gets covered up with beautiful illustrated lines.
What we did on the green screen is we basically imagined that we were puppets, right? We were puppeteering a cartoon character. So we're posing like the cartoon character, and we're not doing any audio recording. Instead, the audio is already recorded, like a real cartoon. And we're out there just going,
We're basically just puppets.
because, once again, we're trying to treat it like a cartoon. So there's a specific way we have to film this. We're basically gathering assets.
I'm so why are they going blah 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 instead of like actually going through the script and like at least almost wording it the same way they would have how they would have said it. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that look more natural?
Almost like we're gathering paper cutouts that we're gonna then pose in our comic book. A lot of these shots are just us standing in a position, and we just need a single frame, because a lot of animation is just single frames of characters standing there against the background while you hear dialogue. And there's a couple rules that we've discovered that we have to follow for this. So first and foremost, the style that we're matching, it basically has single direction lighting. It's not like you have characters that are painted with a beautiful edge light and a key light and a fill light and a different direction for an underlight. Like to actually have to paint that stuff onto a cell would be a lot of work. And so a lot of cartoons don't do that. They just stick to a basic light tone, dark tone shading system at most. And oftentimes it's just a single paint color. At the end of the day, we get to take risks. We get to try things that might break it because, boy, look at this giant crew we have. Oh wait, we have like 2 people and an actor. It's like, in Hollywood, you'd have 100 people on set doing a big movie. So we don't need costume department, we don't need makeup department, we don't need a crazy camera department. Right now, we're just being very, very simple and very, very straightforward and just focusing
Simple is best.
on the concept. Sam and I spent a lot of time conceptualizing these shots because at the end of the day, anime, it's just really all about tying your visual language to the story and really getting into there, stylizing it, thinking about things metaphorically, all that kind of stuff. Once again, it's your ideas that matter, right? It's your direction, your story. Because the AI takes it the rest of the way. I love it. It's such an awesome way to work.
Hey guys.
Man, that's why I love anime so much, man. You can just tell stories so much more creatively and abstractly and metaphorically with animation than you can with real filming in Hollywood. And my problem with Hollywood is that they're designing TV in movies especially. They're designing the movies and the sound quality in movies for cinema. And most people are not watching this cinema. They're watching on their phone. They're in bed. They're pirating it off the internet, right? And they're not going to have 128 speakers like a movie theater. They're going to have 1 or 2 or some earbuds or some Bluetooth something, right? And they're not, and Hollywood's not designing these incredible scenes and all of this manpower they're putting and all this money they're putting into cinema, into movies and stuff. And they're designing it for a smaller audience, right? When you have these guys who are just a couple guys doing some cool ass shit with some AI and a big ass green screen, right? And they're mixing it for YouTube and they're doing it in like how like PewDiePie and big YouTubers, they do things in 1080p because they understand their audience, right? And I just wish that like Hollywood could do so much more if they made more mixes and they filmed stuff for like YouTube and stuff like that. Keep it simple, right? Yeah, down mixing. They do down mixing in Hollywood.
Guys, so we are commemorating the launch of this anime rock, paper, scissors video with an awesome limited edition shirt. It's only available for the next 7 days, available in tee and long sleeve tee. It's super cool.
Hell yeah.
It's designed by human. And once again, it's 7 days only. These are limited editions, so snag one right now. Also, if you want a little tip here, come over here. So subscriptions to our website cost $3.99 a month, but subscribers get a 15% discount on all merch. So if you really want to get cool, you could go and subscribe to our website and then use that discount, and then basically it's the same
Fucking
price.
giga
plus
brain
now you have a
pyramid
free
scheme.
1 month of subscription to our website. Just saying. Don't tell anyone I told you that. This is between us. Cool. All right.
So now that I walked you guys through the theory and the techniques that we're going to try to apply here, let me show you the workflow that we came up with that led us to 120 effect shots for this piece. So here's the video of me on the green screen, in costume, doing all the acting with the lip sync, right? So what we want to do is we want to have the AI basically trace this, to trace it in a cartoon style. So we need to train a model to both know what I look like, as well as what style we want to apply. So when we were on the green screen filming, once we were done, we also took a bunch of pictures of me. My face, my body, different poses, some full body shots, pictures of my back, different lighting. A picture of Nico Peringer. Hey, there I am doing
Nice.
the weird Fonzie point. So then we went and we took a bunch of frames from Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which is an anime that came out in about the year 2000. It's actually free on YouTube. You can just go watch it if you want to. It's actually pretty cool. And we tried to grab frames
watch
of,
that later.
different people, some face shots, some torso shots, full body shots, hands, hair, even some abstract things like flowers. Because with all these different objects, with each picture effectively being a different object, a different character, when we train the model, it's not going to learn any single subject. Instead, it's going to learn the style in which all these subjects were drawn. One little fun little thing here. If you look at the Vampire Hunter D data set, you'll notice there's no characters with full beards, because there aren't any characters with full beards in the movie. And this was a problem actually when we first made the model, and it tried to represent me. Sometimes I'd have a mustache, sometimes I'd have mutton chops, it'd be all over the place. So I generated a bunch of pictures of me. Some of them looked good, most of them didn't. But I took the good ones, and I re-added them back into the data set, and then trained the model one more time. I made a new one. Nico Peringer in the style of Vampire Hunter D. There it is. It's
That's
me,
so
as an
fucking
anime
cool, man.
And notice it's got the costume details correct. It's got my face features correct, my beard. It's the same character every single time. At least consistent enough every single frame. So we got the model done, and now we can use this for all the shots of me.
So I've just received a fantastic plate from Nico. What I'm gonna do now is take the individual images and we're gonna run each one through Stable Diffusion to get an animated character. You have our positive prompts, which are Vamp Hunt D, aesthetic, style, cell animation of Nico Peringer, man, beard, profile, fist, hand. But we also have this negative prompt section, which can steer us away from certain things, like detailed, intricate, lazy eye, photography, render, CGI. These are all the things that we want to avoid coming out. And then basically there's a bunch of freaking sliders, and it's really boring. And there's all that stuff that Nico goes into way more depth over on corridordigital.com, because we don't want to bog you guys down here with the really silly specific stuff. But there's a bunch of processes that are laying on top of that image to image process. And the output is this. There is a really cool animated frame of Nico. There is actually an interpretive element to what the AI.
Yeah, I love the Spider-Man in the background and how they've been working with how they did that short with Into the Spider-Verse. Dude, Into the Spider-Verse was the best Spider-Man movie of all of them, by far. It was so good. Storytelling, amazing, dude. Animation, amazing. You can't do that with normal Hollywood shots, right? The IRL stuff, dude. Yeah, Spider-Verse, so good.
It's doing. There's blue shading on the fur on his
I reference it all the time when I make YouTube shorts and stuff, when I used to make YouTube shorts.
shoulders and basically two-tone shading in his face. It's a really incredible process that we've gotten way too used to at this point. We kind of forget how crazy this technology is. So what's great is that we can just now run the entire image sequence with this prompt and these settings. It's working really well. But you know, there's a few janky frames, like his head just pops in for a second and then pops back out. Little inconsistencies, but they only exist on a single frame basis, you know? If only there was a way to kind of remove a little bit of this flicker and smooth out this sequence into a nice, consistent character.
All right, so Dean's giving me this whole
Dude,
image
someone in the
sequence now.
background had
Check
the
it out.
loudest keyboard ever.
Not bad. It's a little flickery, but like it's consistent, right? You can see the character, you can see some of the mouth moving. All right, so we take the shot, I'm gonna pop it open in Fusion here in Resolve. So the next thing we need to add is the deflicker. There's two different modes, one for time
Gotta
lapse
love
and one for
DaVinci, yo.
fluorescent light.
We love
And
DaVinci
if you
on this
turn the
channel.
Fluorescent light deflicker, check out the difference. Much better. And if it's not good enough, here's how I fix it. Copy, paste, 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 paste. So now we have all these flickers turned on. Look how stable my face and my costume are. The next step is just to pull a green screen key and remove the background. And then finally, reduce the frame rate from 24 frames per second to 12 to look a little bit more like animation and remove even more of that flickering feeling. Now that we have an anime man, we need an anime world for him to live in. That's where Sam comes in.
So very early on in the process, we were thinking, how do we get consistency in these shots? We want one environment, one location. So I'm using a environment in Unreal Engine as the foundation for everything. And just like the video, how we're taking a video still frame and then applying a style to that, I'm taking a render from Unreal and applying a style to that. That allows us to have consistency. We can go close up, we can do wide angles, all the same objects in the scene, stay consistent. Here's our cathedral here. I think it was called the Gothic Interior Mega Pack. The moment I saw this
Gothic Interior Mega Pack,
I knew it was perfect. I've done a little tweaking, redone some of the lighting, little modifications here and there to make it match the vibe a little bit better. It is just bleeding with sweet, intricate, detailed Gothic style, and it's just ripe for taking cool pictures of. I have a camera placed for every shot in the piece, and if we go back out here, look at all these cameras. Every single one of these cameras is a different angle. For
this guy's a G-pose expert,
so, shot 250. It's waist up shot, maybe something like here-ish. Yeah, there we go. So I'm not even gonna render these out with like the normal renderer. I'm literally just gonna take screenshots of this stuff. So, screenshot, boop. All right, it's a whip pan, so let's pan over, boop, pan over, boop, and maybe one more just for kicks, boop. All right, so now I've gotten 4 images. Stable Diffusion kind of takes it from there. Let's go to my handy dandy prompt sheet of all the different little prompts
AI
I
is
tried
just
out.
taking over, man.
This one right here. Expressive oil painting, dark, beautiful Gothic cathedral interior, hyper detailed brush strokes, expressive Japanese 1990s 90s anime movie back.
Dude, to make something like this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you need a massive studio and experts in all these different kind of designs. And now you can just grab some Unity. It's like you can just open source like almost all of this and have a dozen guys and you can slap it together. Like, holy wow.
Painting, matte painting. Negative prompts, blurry. I'm all set. Let's take a look. All right, so that's basically what the process looks like for all these background plates. Now that these background plates are processed, the shot has everything it needs to get composited.
Basically in anime, there's no 3D moves. It's all either painted backgrounds or cell animated characters. So we wanted to stay true to that. So for these shots, we have a script that was created by Nico that has everything we need. It's got lens distortion, it's got glows, it's got light rays, and all this cool stuff. Basically, we just drop our foreground, our background, and the final output is pretty
I couldn't
close
do
to what
that.
you want. And you're just going and
In
animate
DaVinci,
little things and
I'm not
add
that
a little
advanced.
bit of flourish. Here you can see I have the backgrounds that Sam made, and I actually just went into Photoshop and blended them together so you can see the edges kind of smooth out. I took those backgrounds and I just literally animated them scrolling past. And so you can see as well, we've added some directional blur, some lens blur, and then we land on these 2 windows and do a final little push in. So once we drop Nico on top of that, you can see there's this very dynamic effect that's achieved just by literally moving 2D images behind him. On top of that, we have this cool plugin called Light Rays, which creates these beautiful rays of light.
I've used that
We're
before.
using
Actually,
the
I
plate
use
of-
Light Rays.
of Nico to actually obscure those rays. So it really marries Nico.
But I used it for subtitles, not for something super cool like this. I literally just had subtitles and I wanted to make it look like it was glowing from like the bottom up.
the environment. What we're also adding,
Or sometimes the lighting is off on a shot and I'm too lazy to, I just don't want to use like glow or some other effect. So I'll just try light rays just to see how it looks.
to emphasize this motion, we took some of the 3D elements of the candelabras from the Unreal scene. We isolated them and we also turned them into kind of animated candelabras. So you can see here, as the camera's moving, you just whip a candelabra by as if it's in the foreground to kind of emphasize the idea that the camera is literally orbiting around in classic anime fashion. To
Add some
really
depth to the
emphasize
scene.
motion, we bring in these speed lines. Right here at the end, we have a couple more anime lines to emphasize the point, because that's a very important character moment. He's challenging my character.
Dude, I love
All of
how
that together. Right here at the end, we have a couple more.
Dude, when
anime
he's talking,
lines
when
to
he's pointing
emphasize
out this
the
little like
point, because
effect here, and he's pointing out the point, I'm like, man, that is so cool how they brought out that moment, and I could see it like in his expression how much he loves this stuff, man,
it's a
and how he
very
wants to
important
bring it to
character
life
moment.
that
He's
much.
challenging my character. So all of that together, with a little
If I had an editor, this is where you go and you add that into this little effect right now.
lens effect.
You zoom in and then you go and then we go to the next scene.
And then the final piece are these glows, which kind of emulate a film camera, because that's how anime used to be shot back in the days. animation cells would be filmed through a film camera. So we try to emulate those glows. And after all that, we get a sweet shot that I can send back to Nico and he can drop it right in the edit.
One thing I want to talk about is the democratization of this process. This is a situation here where we're looking at a piece of software that's free. That
It's
anyone
all
has
open
access to.
sourced.
A process here that we're sharing openly with everyone because everyone's openly shared knowledge with us, with everyone. And the way this technology is developing, I want to be able to create really cool things. But the only way I can create really cool things is with the help of other people helping make the technology to create those really cool things. And so, since we've learned and are utilizing an open source program with a lot of contributions of people, I want to give back and I want to contribute our knowledge and put it out there so that you can go and make animations and people can experiment and improve upon the process, helping all of us get better. So in this video, I'm trying to make a point of really going through the process in a way that's interesting, but I'm not necessarily getting into a click-by-click tutorial. For those of you who want that, we actually have that on our website, corridordigital.com. I'll have a link in the description below. And of course, with everybody's support, that's why this video is even possible. That's why we're able to take, 4 or 5 people and spend 2 months just working on an anime about rock, paper, scissors. It's thanks to all the support and the members at corridordigital.com. So with practice, we've got this process dialed in. Shot by shot, we just started getting faster and better. And at this point, we are blowing through the piece and it is working. It's incredible.
I really think like open source code, open source programming, just open source knowledge in general, and just having everything available so that people can create and just be so much more efficient is going to be the future. But I just know that all of the big companies that are in charge of everything are not going to like that. Like banks are not going to like that. Big tech is not going to like that, right? That's why like Apple and other companies, like they have their closed gardens, right? No one's going to like that. And they're going to make it so hard. They're going to be lobbying to not have more open source, right? And it's just going to be like incredibly hard, right? And you can make, I know like blockchain's kind of controversial, but you can make a blockchain that just has like open source code and stuff like that. Like you don't have to use it for anything financial and stuff, right? But dude, a fucking AI blockchain would be really fucking cool.
Incredibly exciting. Now, most people in the office haven't actually seen much of this yet. So we're gonna get it wrapped up here with the sound and music and all that good stuff. I'm gonna show it to them. Let's see what they think. Let's see if we can blow their minds.
It's done.
We theoretically have everything dropped in, haven't watched it yet, just exported it, and everybody's gonna watch it with us.
I think it's safe to say that most of us here have not seen anything.
I've seen one completed shot and it absolutely blew my mind, and I can't wait to see the rest of it.
I have not seen it with the sound design, and that is what I'm super excited for because Kevin Senzaki is so good at what he does. And man, mwah.
I'm here for Kevin.
Damn right you are.
I challenge you!
Feels like a real anime in real life. And that's what it is.
There's like all sorts of wacky AI jank that creeps in, but you're so used to it that it doesn't feel like jank anymore.
The song that Sam found for the ending, Fender made this amazing shot where my fist comes down.
Dang.
And there's just this anime blast that happens.
That's a lot of
and then you
ass.
just have this drum roll coming. Yeah, it just all melds and then you just get kind of lost in it.
Are we gonna get another one? Dean is coming back to seek vengeance.
Dude,
At the end of all the
nothing feels better than finding the right track for a clip. It just comes together. So I've spent so many hours like playing with cuts and trying to make a track fit perfectly, and then it just feels amazing, man.
Videos, we always do one of those montages of like, and now here's all the things that happen afterwards, which are like supposed to be like the end credit joke, but this one is the ultimate fast forward a whole season in this montage, and it subconsciously makes you go, oh yeah, there's a whole story here, but we were just like spitballing random shots.
Let's do another one. It's entirely up to corridordigital.com subscribers. We have a tutorial on how we do this whole thing, plus a whole bunch of other cool stuff. Want to check it out and support us? Help us make more stuff like this? Super cool.
Nico, this is a fun video and all, but I'm genuinely curious. Oh! Brother. I'll make you proud. You dare?
One.
In real life, it happens at normal speed.
Okay. 1, 2, wait, shoot, wait. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Dope video.